I almost moved back to Cameroon after my first month here in Germany. I have lived in Germany for 10 years. While I love the safety and punctuality, there are some things that no one warned me as an African woman. So there are some heavy realities, which are the and the stereotypes. No one really warned me that Germans could really stare. One day when I got into the train, there was this old lady who was staring at me, so much so that I felt like she was staring right into my soul, and it was kind of like awkward for me because from where I come from, people don't stare in that manner. If there was ever going to be a competition in the world, I know Germans are definitely going to win. And the staring is so much so that it's quite intense. They could actually stare at you from miles away. As you approach, they keep staring you, and even when you're passing by, they keep staring you. But as years went by, I came to realize that the best way to combat this is to stare right back at them, then they're going to back off. Aside that, there is this frustration that I usually get. Most Germans I come across, they have this stereotype feeling or behavior. When they ask where I come from, they automatically think I am a Nigerian. There are many African countries, I don't know why they feel every African out there must be a Nigerian. One of the cultural shocks that I found here was the lack of variety of food. Where I come from, Cameroon, we have a very wide variety of food we can choose from, and here is really quite limited. And even the shops that get to sell some of these African foods are not as many. Over the years, some African shops have been open, but take way back to when I came, it was really a struggle to get to find African raw food stuff, and even if you do, it's really quite expensive in comparison to the prices back home. Germans don't really have a wide variety of food choices. They kind of rotate almost around the same thing: potatoes, meats, mostly from pig. They love eating pig a lot, and sometimes rice, but they are heavy on spaghetti. But from where I come from, Cameroon, you can go through a month without repeating any dish. Yes, that's how wide the variety of Cameroonian dishes are, especially if you are well to do. This other aspect is very heavy and close to my heart. This is the hair and beauty section. I wouldn't tell you a lie. After moving here, it was a real struggle, and I must confess that not just me, most other blacks or Africans face this struggle even till date, finding the right products for our hair, for our skin at the local shops like DM or ROSSMANN or even Kaufland. But luckily for me, as a hair enthusiast, I could easily improvise, and at the time I came, my hair was still in the relaxed straight form. It's just I had to do a big chop later to go natural, and presently 5 years in the natural hair game. There are a few shops nowadays who offer natural hair care products, for example in Berlin, like Cocoon. If you would like me to do a separate video on that, on which products are best for natural hair or black hair in Germany, specifically Berlin, then comment down below. I'm going to do a separate video on that specifically. Moreover, I was taken a little bit aback about the level of curiosity that people, non-black or African people, have about our hair. There were some awkward moments. For example, if I was by the train station or on the street and someone sees me with my natural hair, they just try to reach out to touch. Oh my god, from where I come from, I find it a little bit dehumanizing. They could be doing it in a place of out of curiosity and not really want to be, and they don't really mean to be disrespectful, but I feel like they have to ask first, because from my observation with whites, you don't just reach out to touch their hair. No, they don't even give you the permission sometimes to be even that close before you even think about touching their hair. And I must strongly also say that I find this point really close to my heart, the topic about hair, wearing a natural hair in Germany, really sensitive, because there are so many of my black sisters up till date who are not very quite confident wearing the natural hair out there, and I don't really blame them 100%. Is because the society where we live in, the country in which we live in, has not yet accepted our hair to look professional. So we always like have to go in for the wigs and other extra styles to cover up our unprofessional hair, which I personally, I do not regard it in that manner. Moving in Germany for the first time and you have your natural hair, you have to put it at the back part of your head. That this could be kind of like a little bit struggle, but nowadays it's gotten a little bit better, because so many people out there are trying to wear the natural hair as possible, but it doesn't still cancel the fact that people are still going to be curious. People are going to try to shame you that your hair looks kind of shabby and not professional. But it all depends on how you take good care of it, how you present yourself in it, how you wear the hair confidently. Giving my own personal experience, throwback to 2022, where I had to go for an interview for a professional course, that is being a cosmetician, I would say cosmetologist. I decided, I had just done my big chop recently, and I decided, I was very very particular that I'm going in for this interview just with my short natural hair. You can see it here in this picture, so that they see me for who I am, and if it be that I'm accepted into these studies, that is the person that they're going to see in the next 2 years continuously. So I'm not going to try to tame myself or try to be someone else whom I am not. I am unapologetically me. I am unapologetically Zore. So in relation to some African foodstuffs, where you can find African foodstuffs, you can find them at shops called Afro shops. That's where you can find some supplies as a black or African, specifically if you want to get your raw supplies. Most of the supplies that you usually use from back home, you could get them at these shops, mostly owned by Indians, some Ghanaians as well, but I would say the Asian community have a very strong hold in the provision of these foodstuffs. This particular one is for my extroverts. Germany is known for its coldness and individuality. That is, they're not really prone to like a community kind of life, like in comparison to back home where we live in the community style, where we are always with one another, we are kind of like loud and all that. In Germany, at 10 p.m. you're not supposed to make a certain degree of noise. Your neighbors could call the police on you, so you have to take note of that. You can't play music really that loud. For if you've got a party to celebrate, or you're trying a milestone in your life, there's a milestone in your life that you want to celebrate, you always have to notify your neighbors quite in advance. If not, you'll be in trouble with the police. So contrast to the community driven warmth of Cameroon, Germans are really private, and they really take Sundays is one of the days in the week that they hold it to a certain level of dignity. They have dignity with this particular day. They call it in German Familiensonntag. So it really has to be peaceful, extremely quiet, no noise and all that, because they believe like spending time with family is very very optimal. Throwing some more highlights into Sunday being a day of quietness and all that, you have to be mindful that shops do not open on Sundays in Germany. Yeah, that was quite a cultural shock for me, because back home shops are open every day, but here You have to plan yourself over the weekend, so much so that if you need something over the weekend, Saturday should be the day that you get all your needs. If not, on Sunday you'll be in shock. You could starve if you don't have enough food items, So be vigilant and be thoughtful. So everyone here is kind of like responsible for themselves. That being said, parenting here is pretty challenging because you don't really have the options of so many helping hands. You have to do everything, almost everything by yourself. So you have to be very calculative. You have to be an orderly person. If not, it's going to be heavily challenging for you. I'll take for example my experience, because I have a little one, and I was cooking and I realized that I needed just a pinch of salt to complete my cooking, and that could easily be gotten from a neighbor. If I was back home in Cameroon, I just tell the neighbor, knock on his or her door, give me some salt. But yeah, that is a big no. You're forced to go to the shop. You're forced to start cooking. You go to the shop, you purchase this, then come back. That is carrying your little one, or if you have 3 4 children, you have to carry all of them to the shop just to go and buy that one item to come and complete your food. It's really quite hectic and pretty challenging. And if it was back home, I could still go to the shop if my neighbor didn't have this particular item that I needed, but I could leave my little one or children with this neighbor and I rush easily. But here you have to bundle all those children together with you to just go get that particular item. So it's something that I really still have to accept. On the other hand, this is actually the light side, which I love. I will gladly mention that I really do appreciate the trains and buses running on time. Punctuality in Germany is everything, and appointments at offices are being kept on time too. I love it. So I actually had no problem with this aspect of punctuality, given my training that I received in boarding school during my secondary school days. It was kind of like a military training. Punctuality was kind of like a must to attend all school activities, hence punishments. So those who are not really time conscious will face a lot of problems in Germany, and they'll receive what's called Strafe. Strafe is just like a word for penalty, punishment as well. Furthermore, I would I can gladly say that the safety here is unmatched. It's really quite high. I can gladly walk at 12 midnight on the streets of Germany and I feel very comfortable, and I'll go back home safely without no attacks or anything. Yeah, the safety here is really pretty good, and I think that is what actually draws a lot of black people to come to Germany, because they consider this particular factor very good to them. I also do appreciate the cleanliness on the streets. Here people are very quite conscious not to just litter everywhere. There are so many beautiful parks and recreational activities here that makes life quite peaceful, entertaining and versatile, especially in the seasons of spring and summer, where people organize all types of festivals, be it musical festival, food festival, or etc. Make sure you stay tuned for the upcoming Carnival of Cultures coming up in May. I'm going to make a video on that also. It's really quite interesting. I don't want to highlight what you're going to see, but make sure you stay tuned. And if you're here for the first time, make sure that you subscribe to my channel, for it's all about life in Germany as a black woman, natural hair care, protective hairstyles, hairstyling, fashion, and lifestyle vlogging. Then last but not the least, I will talk so highly about the educational system here. The educational system makes it so much easy for many people to have opportunities to work in all walks of life. You are not limited to follow only a particular direction to obtain a career later. So Germany is really a country for great opportunities if you're somebody who is witty and know how to maneuver. Yeah, they've got great opportunities, and the educational cost here is really pretty low and sometimes free as well. Not forgetting, if you want to make it easily here in Germany, you have to learn the language. That is one of the coldest truths that I have to tell you, because it makes really such a difference. When I moved here and I had just learned A1, that is the very beginner level in Germany from Cameroon, and I moved here, I was facing a lot of difficulties, and over time, when I got to the professional level B2, I could actually see so much difference on how my life became easier, especially with the bureaucracy. Oh my goodness, you can actually see that people are willing to help you easily when you can express yourself in the language, in opposed to if you're trying to communicate in English or any other language. They behave like they're completely two different personalities. So if you want to hold like Germany in your palms like this, learn the language. It's going to open so many doors for you and break so many barriers. Yes, the bureaucracy here is crazy. In a month you could receive over 30 letters, or am I exaggerating? Comment down below if I'm exaggerating. It's crazy. And if you're somebody who is not quite organized, you really find yourself into trouble, because sometimes these letters come in, and if you don't respond to them on time, you get penalties, and if you don't keep them well as well, you could actually get into trouble, because some offices could actually ask you for some letters, some corresponding letter 3 or 5 years later, and if you have thrown them away or if you cannot find them, then you also be in trouble. So filing here has to be a skill. So Germany isn't perfect, but it is home for now. So it is a mix of paperwork, punctuality, but also safety and opportunity. If you are an expat living in Germany, a foreigner, black, African, what was your biggest cultural shock? Comment down below, let's discuss about it. Let's compare our notes in the comments. I was really excited moving to Germany, but nobody warned me about being black in Germany. The reality hits differently. Thank you all so much for watching, and see you in my next video.